All right, now parents who still wish to register their children for grade 1 and grade 8 for next year have had an extension. The Gauteng Department of Education says parents have until the 21st of July this year to do so, online or in person. The department has already processed over 400,000 online applications since the start of the process last Thursday. In studio with us, we have the department spokesperson, Steve Mabona. Mr. Mabona, thank you very much for your time. So first of all, the reason behind the extension.
Thanks very much, Masejo, and to our viewers. The reason is that we have realized that we are going on recess on the 23rd of June, and most parents prefer to drop off the documents at schools. So, and we scheduled to close on the 14th. Schools will still be closed. So we felt that let's not disadvantage parents who prefers to take documents to schools for reasons that they believe probably, because we can upload documents and all schools will see documents. But some parents, we have witnessed, that they want to go to schools. So we are extending to the 21st of July and giving them up until the 28th of July to submit documents at different schools.
So 400,000 applications have already been processed, but how many applications have you received so far on the portal?
We have received just over 408 applications. But you'll understand that applications, you will still go to applicants and check how many applicants we have. So we can say we are getting there, because normally you will record over 320 applicants. So we still have a long way to go. Hence we're encouraging parents to apply. Don't say schools are closed that you don't apply. Apply, and you will be in a position to submit those documents at different schools. The sooner you apply, it works for us, because we then can plan, because we'll know the high pressure areas. Though we have an idea on where high pressure areas are, but we can then augment on our plans to say we can see that this area is becoming a high pressure as well, so that we can then have resources which will then alleviate pressure when coming to placements. In September we will be back here explaining on why we could not take parents in other schools.
In certain schools. All right, so I've been seeing, obviously you've been fielding quite a lot of complaints from parents on social media. What are some of the glitches, if any, that you've experienced on the portal? Some of them saying that they try to call the department and they're told that the problem is on the Home Affairs side, etc.
Yeah, to a certain extent, because we rely on them to verify the identity documents. You find that some, parents, when they hit there, probably Home Affairs at some point they are offline, maybe because of load shedding, I'm not sure. But we are constantly in liaison with them, because we are monitoring the system closely. Our officials can see if we have a challenge with Home Affairs, and then we immediately interact with them and interface, and it takes a few minutes for the system to come back. That's why we'll always encourage parents to refresh their browser while they do that, and probably we come back. But to a certain extent, it's not something that happens on a continuous basis. We have a responsibility to respond to parents. So if we don't respond, sometimes parents are saying, we are complaining on the social media, the department is not even responding. So when opportunity granted, when we see that there's a pattern of such concerns and complaints, we then respond, so that we allay fears, from parents to say, the department is aware, we are working on that. And the issue was, again, the password. Parents will go there without them being, registered. They will go through the process and they say they forgot the password. You need to register first. Then later, when you want to re-access the system, you use the password that you created yourself. If you happen to forget it, then you can go back in the system and click forgot password, and then the system will take you through and prompt you on how to retrieve that. So it's one of the things that we have witnessed from some parents. It's more of a user problem than a system. We didn't experience glitches this year. For a change, on the first day, first few minutes, the first hour, we hit 60,000 applications already. Actually, Missy was saying, hey, I did a few interviews, and the shortest interviews that he experienced, because I'm sure there were no negativity around the system, and so there's no questions. So that's why we're saying we're cruising nicely this time around.
At the moment. All right, so talk to me about the need to build more schools in Gauteng. Are you seeing that parents are getting more and more comfortable? Because the system is still fairly new. If I'm not mistaken, this is the 4th year that the department is using this particular system to apply for grade 1 and 8. Are you seeing parents become more and more comfortable with it? But also at the same time, are you seeing the need to build more school growing even more?
No, the system is not a problem, really. The problem is capacity. To a certain extent, there are areas where we are struggling to accommodate everyone that would have preferred that school, everyone that would have loved their children to be at a certain school. Unfortunately, I mean, there's areas where we know that we're not going to accommodate all applications. And explaining to parents, sometimes they do not even want to listen. They would prefer to go to private or independent schools. But because of COVID, most parents were hit hard. And we have so many applications, coming our way. Some without a choice, they must come to us. And we try by all means to accommodate as far as possible. So hence we call for patience from parents and understanding that we will not be in a position to accommodate all of them at the school A, like for instance in a certain area. Then we will accommodate them in the other schools. Some will say the school is bad, there's drugs and all that. We are saying, if as a community we cannot change our school, because this is our school, what more? What is it that is expected? Let's work together and make sure that if there's that elements of drugs, let's work together. Now we are in Gauteng, we have Amapanyaza, which they are on the ground. Just give the message and we go to the school and work with the community. So we just need to do that and make sure that we improve our schools. And let's not blame and say there's no quality or quality education. If there are certain educators that are not teaching, then they must be identified. But we can't paint our teachers who are working so hard with the same brush and say there's no quality education. I mean, they are trained from the same pot. So if you say there's no quality education, what do you mean? So that's the contention that we'll always put on the table, to say there's quality education everywhere. That's why people want to come to Gauteng.
All right. I have to ask you about another issue, and it comes from a statement from the DA's Shadow Minister of Education, that is Tumelo Mothotoane. And he is saying that there are about 7,000 intern lecturers at 2 TVET colleges, one in Ekurhuleni, one in Tshwane. I know some viewers would say, why am I asking you about TVET colleges, because that's higher education. But I understand that this particular program for these interns is under the Department of Education here in Gauteng. What's your response to the statement, 7,000 going unpaid?
No, it's a silly season, I mean, Ramulife wants to be the leader of DA in Gauteng. He has already raised his hands. So he will work hard to be seen to be working, because he needs those votes. And come in public without information that is true, he has a clue on. Because he issue a statement and say in the statement, I've tabulated questions to the department. So it means he's not sure what he's talking about already, but he issues a statement. But we'll respond to him. Actually, without us, those learners would not get experience in terms of their work experience. Because remember, they are TVET colleges. They have a responsibility to go to different companies and knock there. And companies are not willing, not all of them, they're not willing to pay them a stipend. So as a department, we felt that through GCRA, because we have a responsibility to enhance youth in the province, identify all those TVET colleges and say, approach them. We did approach them and say, your learners, when they need experience, they need to identify those companies or areas where they want to experience. Once they are appointed there, we will then pay them a stipend. So the process of interface in terms of us creating vendor numbers for them, normally there are delays because we need to use the sister departments in terms of the system, in terms of how you pay, EGAV, CETA, check on whether those learners were not part of the other programs that they would have benefited in. There's no double dipping and all those. So the interface between the department and our sister departments, after capturing this, those learners who are on internship in those companies. Sometimes there are delays, will take a month or two, but from there, then they will be paid. So we've already paid these learners that Ramulifi is talking about, and we'll continue to work with the TVET colleges to make sure that we empower, because without us, some of them, they don't have their qualifications because they are compelled to have work experience as part of their diploma. If they don't go and work somewhere, they will not be given that diploma. So we came in handy as a department that is thinking about the youth of Gauteng to say, let's assist them, let's pay them a stipend so that they continue to go to work, and then they submit what they would have amassed in terms of experience or work experience to their colleges so that they can then get their diplomas. Some of them don't have those diplomas because they didn't have work experience. But we came in as the department, assisted them, and we will continue to do so. We're not going to be swayed by DA and Ramleaf, who are working tirelessly to make sure that they campaign. So like you said, it's silly season.
You're also being a little bit, you're falling a little bit into the trap.
No, but we must, because that's what they're doing. We can't be naive.
So you're confirming, though, that at some point...
Every day one is responsibility of issuing statements. You're confirming, though, that at some point there was no payment made to these students? No,
because of the wait in terms of the capturing of the students?
Yes, it's the transition, of the system, which delayed a bit, and we have attended to that.
How long was the delay? In terms of how many months were they not paid?
They were paid last week already now. Probably it will be 2 to 3 months.
That they weren't paid?
Yes.
And are you back paying the students?
Yes, we are back paying. I mean, from the time we captured them, we pay them that stipend. It's a stipend, we must emphasize. They are not working, and they are not working for the department, for that matter. We need to re-emphasize that. It's the initiative that we took to say, let's empower young people in this province. Experience. Because they need it. It's compelled in their diploma that they must go get it. But when they knock in different companies, some which they are being supported by Ramleaf, they are not willing to pay them. They must come there for probably a year and or 6 months or so without them not getting paid. So we initiated that. Let's pay them and make sure that they continue to have that diploma, which will assist them to tap into opportunities that we are creating as Gauteng government. And
the system that you're saying sometimes takes a bit of time. 3 months is quite long not to get even a stipend, because you can imagine they have to get to work, that's money. They have to eat when they're at work, that's money, etc. Is there anything that you're doing as the department with your CETA, etc., to see if you can shorten that time period that they have to wait for their first pay?
We took a decision that we must go digital. Okay. We've realized that if you go digital, you avoid a lot of administrative processes which might then delay you in future. So we're going to digitize this program, and then moving forward we will not have these problems, because we must verify. Because if you don't verify, Auditor General, when they come to say, but what is it that we've done? Then I must come back here and explain. Because Ramulif will issue another statement and say, Auditor General says department did 1, 2, 3, what are you saying? Then we'll come back here and explain. So we are trying to avoid that. We are digitizing now this program so that we don't have challenges in future.
All right, Steve Mabona, the spokesperson of the Gauteng Education Department, thank you very much for your time.